Income inequality has officially narrowed in Malaysia, but over 1 million households continue to live in relative poverty. Khazanah Research Institute released its latest report on the state of households in Malaysia today. It points out that in 2016, the gap in real mean income between the T20 households and the M40 and B40 had widened from 20 years ago during the Asian financial crisis. According to KRI, this is because the T20 households' mean income levels had started at a higher base. Between 1995 and 2016, the mean household income for the T20 rose by about 78% to 16,000 ringgit. In comparison, the B40 and M40's mean earnings had doubled to just 2,000 ringgit and 6,000 ringgit respectively. So even though earnings growth for the T20 has slowed compared with the growth for the M40 and B40, the head start means the middle and low-income families will continue to be left behind. The report also shows that households earning below 2,000 ringgit used up almost 95% of their income in 2016, leaving them with just 76 ringgit every month. According to KRI, Malaysia must address its quality of education if it wants to equalize income levels. It points out that 12 years of study in Malaysia's education system is equivalent to 9 years of study in Singapore's schools. Tony Phua has chided the Singapore Straits Times for persistent misreporting on the 1MDB scandal. The political secretary to Minister of Finance took issue with two separate reports by ST. The first said Putrajaya was setting a dangerous precedent by paying 1MDB's financial obligations. In response, Phua says the government has no choice but to do so. This is because the failure to do so would immediately trigger potential defaults and downgrades for all the government's other borrowings. ST's second offending article claimed that the government's debt to Abu Dhabi has ballooned to $6.89 billion. This was based on a statement made by IPIC on October 1st to the London Stock Exchange. However, Phua says he checked and double-checked the filing, and it does not say that 1MDB owed the amount to IPIC or Mudabala. He says he is stunned by ST's reporting standards, as both the writer and its editors had failed to read and understand IPIC's statement. At the very least, he says, they should have obtained legal or financial advice from those who did. Alternatively, they could have contacted MOF for clarification. Felda's cash flow condition has reached a critical level, and the low CPO prices are not helping the plantation giant. According to Economic Affairs Minister Dato Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali, Felda's bank borrowings amounted to 8 billion ringgit as of June 30th, 2018. He says the new board of directors is working with the financial institutions involved to restructure the loans. On top of that, Felda is looking to dispose of its non-strategic assets like properties in London, Sabah and Sarawak, which it bought at a cumulative cost of 2.2 billion ringgit. Azmin says these efforts are expected to reduce Felda's borrowings by 15% to 6.8 billion ringgit by end of this year. MOF will set off 10.4 billion ringgit or 61% of the 17 billion ringgit lost tax revenue with additional oil revenue and dividends from GLCs. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng explains there will be about 5.4 billion ringgit in additional oil-related revenue as crude oil prices rise to above $70 per barrel. That's much higher than the $52 per barrel price applied in Budget 2018. Meanwhile, the additional dividends from GLCs, including Petronas and Khazanah Nasional, is projected to reach 5 billion ringgit. Putrajaya will also explore new income sources, particularly from online transaction activities. Apart from enforcing stricter tax compliance, it will also review tax incentives to generate economic activities. Lim says the government is also rationalizing public spending and streamlining its operations. Such efforts are expected to result in 10 billion ringgit of savings. Rare earth miner Lynas Corp is reportedly seeking a Plan B just in case its Gebeng plant is forced to shut down following a government review focusing on its waste emissions. CEO Amanda Lacasse told Financial Times that she is confident that the 6-year-old facility would pass the review. She believes a closure will not be likely, but if the order does come, Lynas could reorganize its assets with time to enable the miner to continue serving its customers. In the short term, the company may need a partner in China, but for the longer term, Lynas would re-establish its operations outside of China, and its home country, Australia, is a pretty good place. Last week, Kuantan MP Fuzia Saleh, an outspoken critic of Lynas, offered to resign as chairman of the review committee to avoid giving Lynas a reason to question the panel's impartiality. It is unclear if Energy Minister Yeo Bee Yin has accepted her resignation.